Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and I have this fun fireworks card for you guys using the stencil that comes in the Simon Says Stamp August 2016 card kit. And from everything I've been looking at, I think the only way to get this stencil is through the card kit. The stamp set and the die and whatnot are sold separately. But you never know, this might be released later. But I had this idea the other day of not just creating fireworks, but I was like, oh, it would look so nice on black cardstock. And then I was like, ooh, it would look really nice if someone did perfect pearls on it. So in my example here, I'm using Pearl X powders because I don't have all the colors of the perfect pearls. I'm going to link to the perfect pearls instead because those actually work better because perfect pearls has a binder in their powder. So it just holds up better and it doesn't come off as this ink dries because all I'm doing is sponging Simon Says Stamp clear embossing ink. You could also use Versamark over the stencil with a sponge dauber, and then I'm brushing the pearl powder over it with the applicator brush and then wiping off the excess with a Swiffer cloth. Again, I'll have a link to that as well. That also makes a huge difference with this. And after each color application, I go on to sponge the next little fireworks burst, and then I just choose a different color. So like I said, I used Pearl X and it worked, but for the most part, Pearl X generally does need some sort of sealer sprayed over it. Back in the day, we used to use hairspray, that sort of thing. It's not something I like using on my cards. One, I don't like the smell, and two, I don't like it just gets sticky. So I will link to the Perfect Pearls powder because I personally think they're better and they work better. So, but yeah, I just used what I had and it worked. So I had several different colors. And the fun thing with all these types of powders is a lot of them are duochromes. So basically they look different on dark cardstock versus light cardstock. So all these ones, for the most part, other than I think one of these, will all look different on lighter cardstock. So it just depends on what you use. So obviously I chose black because I was like thinking fireworks and I thought how perfect that would look. So I just filled in all the areas of the cardstock here with the sponged little firework and the pearly powder. And then I'll hold this up to the light so you guys can see just it's something that is hard to pick up on camera and in pictures and whatnot because in real life that shimmer and shine is so pretty. So once that was done, I set that aside, and then I'm using stamps from the set that comes in the card kit. This is the Seeing Stars stamp set, and there's this long star border. So I lined that up on my grid paper to make sure it was straight, and then I picked it up with my little Fiskars stamp press. And then I just grabbed some purple cardstock scrap from my stash, and I treated it with some anti-static powder, and that just prevents the embossing powder from sticking to where it's not supposed to. And then I stamped the star border stamp here with the same Simon Says Stamp clear embossing ink. And then I'm coating that with Ranger's liquid platinum embossing powder. And I'm going to heat that with my heat tool until it's melted. And it's always, I say this so many times, but it never gets old. After like 12 plus years of stamping, heat embossing never gets old. So it's fun. Got it all melted and then had to go back over a couple spots to make sure it was melted. When it still looks like grainy and gritty, it ain't melted. So once it gets like basically smooth and shiny, you're good to go. So I did that, and then I did the same thing with a sentiment from the set, this time on a piece of vellum. And vellum heats up a lot faster than cardstock, so it takes literally seconds usually to melt embossing powder. And then I die cut that with one of the basic banners dies from Simon Says Stamp. And then I took that purple cardstock and just trimmed off the excess, plus trimmed it down so it was 5.5 inches long. So that's the size of my card. Then I grabbed this gray striped paper. This is from the MFT Dots and Stripes Neutral 6x6 pack. And same thing, I just trimmed down not quite an inch wide by 5.5 inches long strip. And then I'm going to adhere these to my card base, which is heavyweight white cardstock cut to 4¼ by 11 and scored at 5.5. So it's a top folding A2 size card. And then my sentiment, I just folded it over the little firework panel and used my Teflon bone folder to really press down the edge. And then I used my ATG adhesive just on the back of it so I could adhere that to this fireworks panel. And then I coated the back of the panel with a generous amount of foam tape and then popped that onto my card base so it's popped up a bit. And then as my final bit of embellishment, I pulled out the Simon Says Stamp Krystal Reflections Sequins. I don't even know why I bothered putting these away. I love them. I've almost gone through my entire pack of them. And these actually came in a previous card kit like a few months ago. I probably never would have bought them otherwise. And now that I've had them from that kit, I can't stop using them. And they were perfect for this, like the colors and just the way they're kind of iridescent and shiny, just everything about them. So I ended up using 2 of them to kind of adhere down the little vellum sentiment panel here, just kind of disguise some adhesive. And then I put an acrylic block over those while it dried so that it completely dried and that sentiment didn't pop up. And then to finish off the inside, I treated it with some more anti-static powder, and then I stamped another sentiment from the set with the clear embossing ink and coated that with the same liquid platinum embossing powder. Heated that up with my heat tool, and then decided I wanted to add a couple more little fireworks on the inside, also because it's fun to see how the exact same colors look differently on lighter cardstock. So I did the same thing. I just sponged the clear embossing ink over the stencil onto the inside of the card, and then I used 2 of the color powders, and this one, this was the Duo Red Blue. So on the black cardstock it showed up more blue, and then on the white cardstock it shows up more pinkish red, and just fun. So wiped off the excess again with the Swiffer, and then with the second one I wasn't paying attention, and I actually got some of my finger in the ink off the stencil and got that onto the card. But actually all I ended up doing once I was done applying the powder and then wiping off the excess with my Swiffer, I just went over those areas where I'd smudged my fingers or whatever I ended up doing to pick up that powder, and I just took an eraser to it and erased as much of it as possible. So there's a tiny little bit of residue, but not as bad as it was, and then it was good to go. So as always, I will have a link below the video to my blog post where I'll have the pictures of the card as well as picture links of all the supplies used. All that info will be in the description box below the video, so if you are interested, just click see more or whatever it says, and you'll be able to see all the links to everything. So thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping my videos and all the comments. I read all the comments and respond as often as I possibly can, and I really, really appreciate it, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Bye.